What is up, guys? It is AJ from MMA Experts, and we are talking about the fight between Uriah Hall and Anderson Silva. Sadly, this will be the last time we see Anderson Silva in the octagon. He claims, he's 45 years of age, so it kind of makes sense. A lot of fighters don't make it to 45. He's definitely one of the oldest fighters in the UFC. I believe he might be the oldest fighter in the UFC, and also in high level MMA. I know Czech Congo is also in his 40s, 45. I believe as well. And Anderson Silva takes on Uriah Hall, who's 36. Not the oldest guy, but not the youngest guy. A guy that's been around for a while. Ultimate Fighter veteran, was the finalist on the show against Kelvin Gastelum. It was a lot of comparisons to Anderson Silva early on. So let's get into this matchup. I think it's really fun and exciting to see these two finally clash, even though it's years and years later after the Ultimate Fighter. And now the final fight of Anderson Silva gets to be Uriah Hall. This is going to be fun. So first with Uriah Hall, you have a guy who's a very diverse striker. You need to watch out for his spinning attack. On the Ultimate Fighter, his knockout of Adam Sella was devastating. And if you look in the UFC, the spinning back kick knockout of Gegard Mousasi, and you look against Bevon Lewis fairly recently, wasn't a spinning attack, was just a clean punch. He was losing that fight. Bevon had the advantage throughout the first, 2.5 rounds, and Uriah Hall catches him with a massive shot. He needs one moment, and he gets a stoppage win. He's going to knock a lot of guys out. The one-punch knockout power is definitely something Uriah Hall really carries, as well as his style of range management is pretty solid. He's able to move in and out of range pretty well. I think he can avoid strikes against, especially Anderson here. He's going to be able to defend a lot of attacks. He's, good in that kickboxing style. And I think that this matchup being against another, very savvy kickboxer with a very unique style. Both these guys are very unique strikers and have entertaining styles to watch. Now, with Uriah, one problem a lot of the times, he is a bit of a slow starter, but he's known for those come from behind wins. But against guys like Paulo Costa, we saw him struggle. He was pressured early. But granted, he put up a fight. He didn't just lay down. He took a lot of damage, and he was stopped there. But since then, 2-fight win streak, Bevon Lewis knockout win, and a split decision over Antonio Carlos Jr. Now, for Anderson Silva, legendary fighter. He's been in the UFC for a very long time, was the champion for a very long time, considered by a lot the greatest of all time. Now, John Jones is in the mix, GSP, Khabib, or whatnot, but Anderson Silva is still one of the best fighters to ever do it, and probably still the greatest middleweight of all time as of right now, and definitely a legendary figure in mixed martial arts history forever. Excellent head movement. His counter-striking skills are second to none, some of the best ever. He's a southpaw, really sneaky power in his punches, and you need to watch out for his kicks from all angles. Similar to Uriah Hall, but I think Anderson Silva is a bit even more sneaky with his attack of his kicks, and I feel like Uriah is a lot more explosive with his kicking style. I feel like, though, Anderson Silva truly hasn't looked necessarily like himself since probably 2012, and that was the win over Stephan Bonner. He lost the title to Chris Weidman, lost again, and has some ups and downs from there. We can quickly glance at his record. If you look at Anderson, since losing to Weidman, he lost to Weidman again. He had the no contest against Nick Diaz. He did win on the scorecards prior to, the no contest being overturned with the drug usage or whatnot. Lost to Michael Bisping by a fairly controversial decision, but competitive matchup still. Daniel Cormier controlled him, beat him. That really was, he took it on like 3 days notice, I believe. Nothing terrible. Derek Brunson, very competitive fight. A lot of people thought Derek Brunson should have got the win. Lost to Israel Adesanya. Lost to Jared Cannonier. So hypothetically, Anderson Silva could be on a 5-fight losing streak if not for the Brunson razor-thin decision victory. Since losing to Weidman, he has not been the same guy. The leg break did a lot of damage to him, and I definitely believe that affected his movement and kicking skills a bit. Now, for Uriah Hall, though, 2-fight win streak, a guy that's never been the elite of the elite, but is definitely a devastating striker, is definitely a top 15 middleweight on the planet, and now we have this awesome matchup. I always thought Uriah Hall was kind of an Anderson Silva-esque protege, never lived up to, Anderson's level of skill set, but he gets an opportunity to win against Anderson Silva, to have a fight against the legend. To me, even if Uriah Hall never fights for a title, I don't know if he will, but if you beat Anderson Silva, yes, it's a 45-year-old Anderson Silva, it's pretty amazing to have on the resume. But this matchup here, I think that we need to bring one thing to the forefront, and let's not forget that Anderson Silva is a pretty savvy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner off his back. And if he maybe changes his style, maybe there's a little grappling involved, I could see him catching Uriah possibly with something. For Anderson Silva, to win this fight, he really needs to be intelligent. I mean, his chin is not what it once was. The leg kicks can do a lot of damage to him. His knee is a little suspect with the Jared Cannonier loss. As for Uriah Hall, I mean, he's a guy with a decent chin. He has been stopped before, though, with punches. And if Anderson hits him with a counter shot, there's definitely a chance that we see an Anderson Silva victory. I think this is a really tough fight to call because, you know, obviously the bias towards Anderson Silva being one of the greatest ever is going to have a little bit to do with the picks, right? But Uriah Hall stylistically is kind of a good matchup for Anderson, even at 45 years of age. He tends to stand in front of his opponents and come to fight in kickbox. I believe that Anderson Silva will come in near prime form. This is the last fight he's ever had. You know, Hall is always going to be dangerous, and he's, as I mentioned, a ferocious knockout artist. But Anderson Silva, I believe in this matchup, is going to shock us all. He's going to get a win. He's the underdog. I will pull up the odds in a minute. He's the underdog in this matchup. I think Anderson, the final fight, he's going to come in the best form ever. I think he's going to leave it all out there because this is the last time he ever puts on the gloves, the last time he ever walks into the octagon. And I think Anderson Silva beats Uriah Hall. I could see a submission win here. I really could. I think a submission around round 3 or 4 is very possible, but also a knockout around round 3 or 4 is possible. I think he can catch Uriah Hall with something. I think Uriah is very dangerous and has a legitimate chance to win this fight, but I am going to pick Anderson Silva to win. My exact prediction, I'm going to go TKO round number 3, and I think late in round number 3. But I also can see it going submission. I could also see it going to the distance possibly. But I do think these guys are going to get after it and have a very fun fight. My only worry for Hall that people I think are not thinking about is the fact that you're going in there against Anderson Silva. I believe somebody that he probably idolized a bit throughout his career, and you're going in against Anderson. He might be a bit starstruck in there, and we could see him potentially have an underwhelming performance, and Anderson then win a very, you know, maybe competitive decision or even maybe a fairly dominant decision. We'll see. I think Uriah has a legit chance, but I do pick Anderson to win this fight. Now, as far as the betting odds go, I'm going to actually have to pull up the Best Fight Odds website because I do not want to give you guys the out-of-date odds. All right, here we go. Okay, so as of right now, Uriah Hall, minus 225 favorite to Anderson Silva at a plus 185. That's 5 dimes. That's kind of the website with the basic odds. But there's other sites. Sportsbet, you have Anderson Silva at a plus 191 underdog and Uriah Hall at a minus 219. Sportsbet's kind of the best place to put money down on either one of these guys for this matchup. In the fight, I mean, I think that it could go the distance potentially, as I did pick a TKO, but it's very competitive. I think it's going to be amazing to see Anderson one last time. I am riding with him to beat the very dangerous Uriah Hall, but I don't think Uriah Hall is going to be able to beat Anderson Silva here. I don't know why. I have this feeling. Yes, obviously he has the favorite status, you know, as far as the betting lines go, and he's the younger fighter, but I think Anderson Silva is going to come in there and look good. And against Jared Cannonier, he wasn't looking bad up until the leg kick. So I think in this matchup, Cannonier, I mean, top 3, top 4 contender in middleweight. Uriah Hall is not at that level of contendership. He's ranked number 9 by Tapology. He's somewhere around there in the UFC. I think we see an Anderson Silva upset win here and then retires with that amazing victory over Uriah Hall. But alright guys, that is pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, also turn on those post notifications, and follow my social media too guys, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll see you all in the next video.